What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. What's this back here? That is the Honda CRF450RL. And as you all know, if you're familiar with the channel and you are a regular or subscribed, you know that I own a Kawasaki KLX300. That's my bike. This is my brother's bike. And while in some of the other videos, it may sound like I'm kind of bashing the bike, I'm not. It is a good bike. It's just not a bike that I think fits me and my riding style and what we do. But I do want to hop on it, and I do want to talk about it, and I kind of want to go over it a little bit more. So let's take a look at this thing. I mean, just looking at it, the bike is really sharp to look at for sure. It definitely has a nice appearance, and while it's being a dual sport, this bike is more MX oriented. Now what they've done is they've taken the 450 motor out of the MX bike and they basically retuned it. The compression ratio is a little different, and you know, they made it a little bit more long lasting for road trips and stuff like that. So while it is MX inspired, it is all for using it on the road and everything like that. Now the main difference between this bike and my bike, the KLX, is that right there. You're like, what are you talking about? Well, my wheelbase is like right there, which is only 2 inches. And while you may not think that's a big deal, 2 inches definitely makes a difference when you're trailing. You can definitely feel it in the bike. I wish I had that extra 2 inches just for the stability in the sand, because I feel like it helps. When I was riding the MX bike, it seemed to handle a little better with that longer swing arm. It also has a 2 inch shorter seat height. This is 37.5, mine is 35.5. So that makes a difference too, especially when you're putting your feet down in trails or coming up to a stop and stuff like that. When you're in an unstable sand and you're trying to get your feet down, that can determine this tipping point where you're trying to bounce on one leg and keep it from falling. I mean, I rode the MX bike, so it's not really that big of a deal. But it does make a difference. Even in the last video, my brother said that, you know, it did feel a little bit more comfortable on the KLX through the trails. Another thing is this right here. Obviously, this looks exactly like the MX bike, and I believe it's the same exact seat. It literally is no different from the MX seat. This is definitely not a seat that you want to sit on for a long period of time. When I jumped on it just for the little bit that I did, oh man, you can definitely feel a difference between that and the KLX. The KLX has a wider seat. It's more comfy. It's got more foam in it. This to me is like sitting on a cinder block. While it does have, you know, cushion under there, when you're sitting on there, man, your bum feels like you're sitting on a concrete block. You know, it's just like all the other enduros. You have your turn signals, you have the headlight, running on the same 2118s. Actually, I think mine is 2119 if I'm not mistaken. So they are running the exact setup on the dirt bikes / MX bikes. Trying to think if there's anything else that, you know, I can go over before we hop on and take a little ride. It does have more ground clearance, 2 inches of ground clearance, and it has 2 inches of shock travel as well, and that's to be expected. Again, it is based off the MX chassis and everything like that. So there really isn't much difference between the MX and this bike, other than the shocks definitely are set up a little different. These are a lot, I say a lot, they're more soft than the MX, but they're not as soft as the KLX. When you do sit on this, it does have a suspension squat, whereas the MX doesn't have as much. Now granted, this is probably designed and set up from Honda for maybe someone that's 200 and less. I'm in the 215 category. I think my brother's right at the 200. So there is a little bit more squat than probably what they anticipate. But he didn't seem to have an issue or mention anything like that. It does run a 2-gallon tank. We thought it was a 2.5. It is not. It's a 2-gallon, which is the exact same as the KLX, and they both get about the same gas mileage. This is a 450, mine is a 300. They're getting around like 70-75 miles to one tank, so not too bad. Depending on how you're using it, you can probably get 80, maybe 85, but probably no more than that. I think they said like 45 miles to the gallon is probably like the best you can get with it. I'm sure if you mess around with tunes and filters and exhaust, you probably get a little better, but it's probably not that much. We haven't had the issue yet. We've been out on about a 4-hour ride, and we did fill up before we left, and we came back and we were probably, I don't know, minutes from the lights coming on. So 4-hour day of riding, and we were out trailing and street riding, so that's not too bad for one of these machines. But I definitely want to hop on it and do a little rider review with this particular machine, so you guys can see what I have to say about it. Not that it really matters. Like I said, my opinion is just like everyone else's. We all have them, but for just for people that are trying to get into this particular genre, sometimes videos like these may help them out, and I try to give a fair review. I am a Kawasaki guy myself, but that doesn't mean I don't like Honda and I don't like Yamaha, or I don't like all the other brands, because they all make good bikes. Hands down, you can't go wrong with buying any one of the 4 Japanese bikes. But yeah, let's strap up and let's get on this thing, and let's do just a little review on this. All right, guys, suited up. Let's take her out. I did look it up. The 300 actually is running an 18, not a 19. So 2118 on both bikes, which is the same setup as the MX. Let's see what she sounds like. This is running a 12:1 ratio. My bike's on an 11:1. This bike also has, I think it's a 42 horsepower. Mine's only running 26. So while it is a 450 and it doesn't have the same horsepower as an MX 450, it does have the same horsepower as a MX 250. So this is the reason why my brother went with this particular machine. He liked his Yamaha 250. He wanted that kind of same feeling, but just be able to drive it on the road. So this is why he chose this. Yeah, so let's get right into it. Definitely a touchier throttle for sure. Clutch pull, I mean, it's about the same. Maybe the KLX is a little bit more sensitive, but they're pretty close. This is not even close to mine. I mean, I can do this little twist right here, just that little twist, and you barely notice it in my bike. This, you feel every bit of it. So, whew, this should be fun. Now that horsepower is definitely going to make a difference out here on the road, because when you get on it, you can feel that torque instantly. I don't really feel that on the 300. So if you guys are contemplating on a bike for the road, but you really want it more road oriented than off-road, this is going to be a better buy. It's going to give you that more motorcycle feel on the road.
we'll just go around the streets here in the neighborhood. Yeah, this thing definitely has way more pull. Low end than the 300. But I mean, even just kind of holding it right here, I'm not moving my hand at all. The bike is, it's up and down, and it's like underneath me. I can feel it. I don't know, like, it's not like a sputter or anything, but it's just like, the way this bike is designed, it just wants to go. And if you're not ready for that, it will throw you off the bike, I will tell you that. It's definitely not a motorcycle for someone to learn on. I mean, I would not recommend this whatsoever to someone that is just getting into this. I would 100% go with a KLX model, probably even the 250 or 230, should I say. So just riding down this Lime Rock Road here, the shocks, I can clearly feel a difference between the KLX and the RL. A lot more stiffer on this bike. Makes me want to stand up. And that's what I feel this bike is more for. Like, you're not supposed to really be sitting on this bike, I don't think. It's more of a stand up, squeeze the tank, and ride it just like any other high performance off-road motorcycle. Go out to the main road out here where it's 60, actually it's 55. We'll take her down. Because my bike, I mean, you're not really going to pull out in front of traffic that's moving 55, 60 mile an hour and expect to get up to speed without them getting on your tail and getting aggravated. This one, you might actually be able to do that. No problem. She gets up to speed, no issues at all. Pulls a lot harder than... Oh, horn works. It's weird because the horn on this bike is in the location where my turn signals are. Their turn signals are down here. Mine's right here, so I hit the horn instead of the turn signal. Just letting everyone know I'm here. Woo! I will say that torque down low is monstrous. We're going to come up here and we're going to take our left up here, and we're going to go off-road through the trails I usually take. Which is probably going to be a little sketchy on this bike because, man, I don't like the, I just don't like this jerkiness when I'm trail riding. I just feel like I'm not in control of the bike, and at any moment this thing will come out from underneath me. Woo. Gotta get used to it. Not used to this machine in the sand, so I don't want to go down, which, whew, I mean, this thing, it is acting just like, it's acting like mine. Careful with these pine needles. They will take the tire out from underneath you real quick. Whew. Now this bike actually weighs less than my bike. Not by much, only a few pounds. But I don't know what it is about this bike. It feels heavier than my bike. Like, I don't know if it's the center of gravity or if it's, I don't know what it is. The bike just feels heavier on it, to me. It may be because I'm used to the 300 and, you know, I'm already used to that bike. And I'm more comfortable on it, so my confidence on the 300 is way up right now. I love that bike. My confidence level on this bike is way down. I just feel like I'm never in control, and that's just experience in riding the bike. And I don't want to make a mistake and think that I can power through something and then the tire ends up coming out from underneath me. But yeah, it's there it is. None of these, even the dirt bikes, don't like to really go slow. You got to get momentum in the sand. Get your body upright and over the handlebars, you know, but it feels more comfortable. It's not a bad bike at all. Like I said, it's not that I don't like this bike. It's a nice bike. It is cool that it is an MX bike that you can drive anywhere you want. And I mean, if you've looked up other reviews on this bike, you'll see that people have taken this to a track and they have sent this thing flying. I mean, it goes into the turns, it jumps. It's a track bike, and you can have fun with this thing anywhere you want. That is definitely a plus. I don't know. The KLX could probably do a track, but this is going to be way better on a track, especially if you change the tires out and put a little bit more aggressive tire. They do make a knobbier DOT tire, so you get that best of both worlds. You can ride with the knobs on the road, and that way you're not tearing them up, because you know the MX tires are so soft, and as soon as you start, you know, trail riding and jumping from trail to trail on any of these roads, the tires wear out real quick. Yeah, it's a good bike. Good bike. I'm already starting to feel the seat underneath me. I can feel the hardness of it already. Like, it didn't really bother me when I first hopped on it, but just riding around the little bit we did, I can feel it under there now. Feels like I'm sitting on a piece of wood. I mean, you throw some Supermoto tires on this bad boy, this would be a fun bike. Through the mountains, any back road for sure. That I would say, and that's, again, that is what is great about these particular models, because you can throw on a street tire front and rear and take this thing through some back roads and have just as much fun as a motorcycle. But you can't take the motorcycle and throw dirt tires on it and take it to chrome. That ain't happening. Power, A+. 100% A+ on power. Comfortability on the seat, probably a C-, if not a D. This seat definitely has to be changed 100% if you're doing anything other than off-road. I mean, obviously the suspension is great. It's a Honda. It's going to last you forever, so got that 450 deep road sound. You throw even just a slip-on on this bike, and it's going to sound great. Now they do make a throttle tube adjustment. It's like a modifier that helps the curve of the pull on the bike. So it's supposed to stop this right here. I mean, look at that, it's just so jerky. There's also an ESC tune that, you know, the computer, the module in there, you can switch that out, and supposedly that helps as well. So maybe with the combination, oh, and also there's the flywheel. They say if you change the flywheel, it makes a real big difference down low and a little bit more usable for trailing. So I mean, you got to spend a little bit more money. The bike's already at an MSRP at $10,999 or something like that, almost $11,000 out the door, or not out the door, but MSRP almost $11,000. But you know, you're probably gonna have to throw in another $1,000 to get it maybe to a desirable liking for some people, and for some people it may just work. You know, I mean, like I said, they're different. Everybody's different. Somebody that's been on two wheels all their life, they may not need to make any adjustments whatsoever. This bike may be the absolute perfect bike for them. But like me, and you know, I've been on two wheels for a couple years now, not crazy experienced on the two-wheel side, at least dirt. I've been on two wheels motorcycles for 20 years, but you know, dirt riding's different. You know, everybody says, oh, if you can ride a motorcycle, you can ride a dirt bike. Yeah, on the road, you're right, but not off-road. It's different. There's a lot to get used to. So don't like it. Don't like the bike. So yeah, I mean, honestly, in conclusion, guys, the only negatives I have about this bike, and I'll say it again, I'm sure you'll hear me say it multiple times, throttle and seat. Throttle and seat, that's it. That's the only two complaints I have about this bike. If I had the capabilities to somewhat tractor down low, I mean, it will do it, but it's still, even when you're trying to keep the RPMs down low and just tractor through things, the RPMs are too high, and it wants to roll faster than what the 300 will. So if I dump the clutch here, so we're doing 7. You can hear it wanting to sputter. It'll do it. But I'm moving a lot faster than I would be on the 300 for sure. So it's sounding like it's wanting to stall, and it is keeping it moving. And there it goes. There goes the light. I knew we were only a couple minutes from the lights coming on for gas. But yeah, I mean, so when you're trailing, you're trying to go up hills and stuff, that, I don't know, that can be a little bit of an issue. But again, a more experienced rider, not going to see that, I guess. So love the power. Definitely love the power, I will say that. Good bike. It's a good bike. You can't go wrong with either one, honestly. It's just preferences, and it's always preferences, right? It's what is going to work for you as a rider, and for me as a rider, I am completely happy 100% with the KLX. I absolutely love that bike. Do a couple little turns here. Get her in like I was riding. I mean, it's a fun bike. This is a fun bike too. It takes a little bit better rider for this bike. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not a professional rider. I like the KLX, but this bike's a good bike. So, I mean, thanks for watching the video, guys. If there's any questions, don't be afraid to ask them down low. I'll try to answer anything I can. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. We got a lot of stuff coming up. Check out the website too, guys. www.theatvfamily.com. We've got a bunch of stuff up there. Just a bunch of things for, that people might like. T-shirts, decals, hats, some novelty things, and all that stuff helps out the channel. It helps us be able to do things like this. Get better equipment, better cameras, better helmets, just things like that to help out to help us, show this stuff off to you. So, again, thanks for the views. Keep clicking, and we'll catch you on the next video, guys.